Hey Nakama, this is Gomu Gomu. It's me. My name is Aldin or Alden, and today we're going to be reviewing episode 1081, The World Will Burn, the onslaught of a Navy Admiral. Let's get into this. So, we start this week off in the Sea of Wano looking at the red hair pirates, their ship, just them. They're the aesthetic we're going for. But so we see Shanks and he starts to reminisce about Odin and his time with them, and he's mentioning Momo and Hiyori, how much they've grown probably and stuff like that. Real sentimental type stuff, right? So then we get Shanks noticing something is strange in the land of Wano. So his observation hockey must be so good he can sense the Admiral on the island, which is crazy to even think, but I guess we're going to delve deeper into that once we get deeper into Shanks' powers and what he can actually do. So, we cut to the Admiral making his way into the Flower Capital, right? So, we already know there's some trouble about to pop off. Then we cut back to Luffy celebrating with Jaggy and, everybody else is celebrating, having fun, and, it's a good time. Then Raizo and Kawamatsu start talking about Odin. Everybody starts talking about it. Everybody not talking about it, but just reminiscing, right? Being like, this is what he envisioned. This is what we were, hoping for. Everything's right? So then, all of a sudden, rather, not apparently, but all of a sudden, the Akazaya 9, even though they're not really 9 anymore, they somehow sense a disturbance in the Force, and they put together that something's wrong, right? So they all take off. Even though they were all separate, like scattered, they all apparently converge and they're face to face with the Navy Admiral, right? So Green Bull gets face to face with the samurai, and they don't want the others to get involved. They don't want Luffy, Zoro, any of the people that just helped them save their island, or their country rather. They don't want none of them to get involved. So, they're like, look, this threat stays here. We don't alert anybody. This is our fight, right? So this is where things get crazy to me, right? So Green Bull says since Wano rather isn't members of the world government, they have no rights in his eyes. That's crazy. Like, how can somebody who's supposed to be quote unquote upholding justice say, "Oh, because you're not part of my country, you have no rights"? That's just wild. So Green Bull turns himself into a wood golem man type thing and goes on a tangent that basically states, no matter how many people I kill in this country, it doesn't matter because the law can't touch me. And he goes on to say other things, and this speech right here is honestly why One Piece is a top tier anime. Naruto had it, Dragon Ball Z had it, a few animes from the newer generation have it here and there, but these speeches where they convey life into an animated show is just top tier. Like, you shouldn't formulate your views on the world through anime. You should formulate it through your own eyes. But just seeing something you take comfort in tackle real life things, it's just chef's kiss. It's just beautiful to see. Now, obviously, what he's saying is fucked up, but like just seeing that it's conveyed into something that you're watching week in and week out. If we remember, this show started because Luffy was in a barrel drifting off in the sea and got picked up, coincidentally. Obviously that's the plot, but still, like, and now they're talking about this kind of mentality toward it. It's crazy, right? So anyway, so he's off on this tangent. Yamato shows up and fucking just hits Green Bull with a powerful head strike, right? And then while he's sitting there dazed and stuff, we cut back to the Red Hair Pirates where they mention seeing Luffy again since he's a great pirate, right? I'm pretty sure his name is Lucky Roo. Don't quote me on that because like I haven't delved into the Red Hair Pirates in a while. Maybe I'll do like a Red Hair Pirates breakdown in the future. But Yasop says, you know what? I'm not ready to see Usopp yet, which is just funny to me because they're like playing kind of like Hunter x Hunter with Gon and his dad. Like, they both know they're out there, but it's like, I'm not ready to see him yet. Let's not do that. And then one of the members mentioned that Kid came to pick a fight with them. And they're like, well, he's going to be there, so is it going to be another fight that we're going to have to deal with? And then we get a flashback to Shanks on a ship wearing the straw hat, so this was a long, long time ago, right? So then we start to see cuts of this box, and if you recollect, that's the box of the devil fruit, now known as the Joy Boy devil fruit. I mean, I know it's the Nika Nika, Hito Hito no Mi and all that stuff. But we start to see that fruit, right? And then we see the world government ship getting attacked. So the Red Hair Pirates are the one attacking the government ship, right? And, you know, one of the Navy officers says, why are they even attacking us? We have no treasure. We just have a devil fruit that turns you into rubber. Like, who would want that? So, you know, like, this is another reason. Look, let me cut real quick. This is another reason why this is a top tier anime. Everything comes full circle. So if we don't get answers towards the end or in the end of this show, it would just feel like Oda didn't complete it. You know, like everything gets full circle. We get the answers we want. This isn't an anime that leaves us hanging. They have enough support that they're gonna finish this out. I'm sorry, it's just gonna happen. So, anyways, we cut back to Luffy being a kid and giving himself, you know, the scar under his eye and just everything that happened between Shanks and Luffy. How Shanks was very, it's kind of like a mentor to Luffy, rather. Like, I don't want to say father figure because I don't think, like, Luffy doesn't think like that. You know, if you can recall back in Water 7, he was like, oh, I have a dad. Like, he doesn't think about stuff like that. He thinks about people he admires and people that have mentored him and helped him along the way, like friends and mentors. I think that's how Luffy thinks. Like, Ray Lee would be in the mentors, Shanks would be in the mentors, and people like that, right? So, you know, we cut back to present day, and Shanks is like, I have no intention of seeing Luffy. And we find out that Bartolomeo has burned Shanks' Jolly Roger, replaced it with Luffy's, and said that Luffy will be king of the pirates. That's wild. I mean, we know how much dedication Bartolomeo draws out of Luffy, like how much he just is inspired by Luffy. But to go and burn an Emperor of the Seas, and he even says, he goes, Emperor of the Sea, I don't care. And we know how powerful he is with his devil fruit. So that was just a very strong action. Now we know Luffy didn't tell him to do that. He did that on his own accord. But it just, since everybody formed the, you know, fleet for Luffy without his permission, basically, people are going to look at it as like Luffy told him to do that. Shanks says that if he lets it slide that Luffy's people burned his flag, people will start to lose not interest, but trust in him, right? They would be like, oh, you're going to let people burn your flag? We don't really care, you know, that it's somebody you know, that's just fucked up. Like, we're supposed to be your territory. You're supposed to protect us. And people can just burn your flag because they know you? Like, what kind of shit is that? So I can understand it in a sense like, oh, I can't be seen shaking hands because they got a picture of Luffy as Joy Boy. I didn't see anybody with a camera anywhere near the battle. So obviously things spread quick in One Piece. So we cut away from him and we start to see a newspaper headline that says, Sabo killed King Cobra of Alabasta. What? What? Like, this episode is just giving us so much what kind of moments to where we could just pause and be like, what just happened? So then we cut. There's a lot of cuts in anime, but I like to mention that we're cutting because I don't want to just make it like, oh, we see that and then this. So we cut to a meeting of Akainu Kizaru and a guy I don't think we've met before named Kurouma, director of Naval Bureau of Investigation, basically like the FBI. And as we know, this is what they're talking about. As we know, the Revolutionary Army declared a war on the Celestial Dragons. Now, during the reverie, Kuma escaped with the rest of the Revolutionary Army. Now, it's like Kuma was under mind control, losing his mind. So how much he's going to be able to be an asset to the Revolutionary Army, we're yet to see. But that's pretty cool that they were able to get him to escape. Also, not a footnote, but something that's rather large, but Vivi has gone missing. So the king of Alabasta has been assassinated and Vivi is gone. So Alabasta ain't looking too good right now. We find out what the portrait / mural, I guess you want to call it, of Sabo was. And now people are calling him the Flame Emperor. So people like are starting to revolt against the world government. Like, the Revolutionary Army is growing by the country. It's not growing by the person. It's growing by the country. It's like, it's a movement that's taken on a life of its own. And people are just, they're getting into the idea because they've seen so many bad Navy officers that they're like, yo, no, we gotta fix this, right? Now we come back to the battle with Yamato and Green Bull. The samurai aren't really strong enough to fight Green Bull, so like they're gonna be there, like chip in here and there, I guess, but they're not really strong enough to fight with a Navy admiral. So it's basically Yamato versus him, right? So then we get Momo comes flying in and tries to shoot his own blast breath, but it doesn't work. I guess he's still too young and not powerful enough because, as we know, he is older, but he's still 8 years old. So just because he has this appearance, this mega form, this, he's all broad shoulder, he's still weak. He still has to grow into his body, which I don't know how long that's going to take. But obviously, it's not going to take one night in Wano, right? So we cut away from the battle and we see Shanks on his ship still, right? And he tells Beck, I think it's time. And Beck's like, what are you talking about? He goes, it's time to go get the One Piece. So Shanks is making his move. Now, I don't think it's October 29th. We're not going to really see too much of Shanks until next year. But just this mere fact that we've seen Shanks now say that it's time to go get the One Piece, that's something to look forward to. Now we have somebody that we're like, okay, Shanks is going after it now. So now we know we're in the end game. So then we get the end screen, right? We get Shanks saying the One Piece, end screen. And the preview just has way too much going on. So tune in next week where we review that episode. But anyways, this episode, I'd probably give it an 8.0, 8.5. There's not too much stuff I can critique, I guess. But like just little things. Because I don't like to say anything like a 9, 9 or even a 10. Because a 10 would just be the perfect episode. Now a 10 would be something like, and this is just something biased, I guess, but a 10 would be like the episode where Goku achieved Master Ultra Instinct. Like that was just, everything came together perfectly. It was like a symphony. So these episodes are, they're like the episodes leading up to that. So we'll see how next episode goes. But anyways, please like, share, and subscribe. Be safe and well in your travels. Enjoy the journey, and just know I will be the king of YouTube. Peace.